difficulties. I know she had, for some of the discussion or the update items, she probably has more information than I do on some of those things, so.
Well, hopefully she can jump in. If not, we can recess until she can get in. But I think we'll get started because first up is the action item.
Yes. If you give me 1 second to let her know that we're going to get started, and then.
I've got the meeting after this, so I just want to make sure we get going.
And I need to start recording. So give me 1 second. Okay.
I want to say that from the background, it appears that I'm coming to you from the Andromeda Galaxy. I am actually here in San Marcos.
That's good.
Commissioner Holder, you can change your backgrounds. I can teach any of y'all how to do that. That's how I pull this off. And it's really easy just to kind of flip through your backgrounds. If you go to the drop-down menu on Stop Video, there's an arrow up, and you can add any background you want. And I just love it. I teach my students to do this for their speeches.
You just called me Star Commander Holder.
You are. You're the ace. You're one of the chief stewards of our community, Mr. Holder.
For the entire galaxy.
Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there, guys. Okay. I'm gonna pull the Zoom. Can everybody see my screen? Everybody just use everybody good?
Are we recording?
Gosh. No, of course you're not. Oh yeah, sorry. We are recording.
Do you want to? You can start again if you want, unless you can edit it with the old.
All right, I'm ready to go.
Okay.
Give me a thumbs up. Everybody can see my screen.
Yeah.
All right. Good deal. Thank you.
I will call this regular this regular meeting of the San Marcos Historic Preservation Commission to order at 5:55 p.m. And will the staff please call the roll?
Yes. Commissioner Date, Commissioner Holder,
Here.
Commissioner Arlinghouse, Commissioner Perkins,
Here.
Commissioner Kennedy,
Here.
and Commissioner Thompson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Excellent. Okay. First up is the approval of the minutes.
Actually, we need to do the citizen comment period.
Oh. All right. Tonight's agenda includes a citizen comment period at the beginning of the meeting. You're welcome to speak on any topic. Please be advised, however, if the topic you wish to speak about is not on tonight's agenda, commission members cannot respond due to requirements of the Texas Open Meetings Act, which requires the topics of discussion by the commission to be posted 72 hours in advance of the meeting. If the topic you wish to speak on is listed as a public hearing, you are welcome to speak for or against an item during the public hearing. City Code prohibits a person from speaking on the same topic during both the citizen comment period and the public hearing. When speaking either during citizen comment period or during a public hearing, you will approach the lectern or speak into your microphone, state your name and address, and you are allowed to speak for up to 3 minutes. Staff will be keeping track of the time and will alert you when your time is up. So we have no public hearings, so we will just entertain citizen comment period. Who's up?
That would be Miss Lisa Marie Coppola.
Good evening. Good evening. My name is Professor Lisa Marie Coppola. I live at 1322 Belvin. I'm thinking that this particular commission needs to utilize a tool that other commissions have used and send a resolution to the City Council to implore them to enact the Historical Resources Survey. Our community spent a lot of money in tax dollars to have that assessment. And now, since then, of course, we have block by block being gentrified with new urbanist dribble. That ideology is impacting Native American artifacts. It's impacting homes like mine with new urbanism junk sidewalks, and it's also impacting the homeowner, not quite frankly, land values, as well as our beautiful historical structures. The ecological and historical landscapes of our homes are being destroyed, and we have a tool in place with the Historical Resources Survey, and you have a tool to send a resolution. I'm not sure why this hasn't been rolled out. The second thing I want to talk about is for you to implore our City Council to make the message board public. If you ever watch the City Council meeting, you will note that they reference the message board all of the time in their meetings. It happens about 5 times. What are they hiding? In my mind, it is a quorum because all of them can see a question. And one exemplar case study was a development that they wanted to implement that was 22 minutes away for law enforcement, for EMS or fire services to show up. The city citizens did not know this was a concern until it was borne out in a public hearing. We have a right to know what's going on with that message board, and I would implore you, commissioners, because those sorts of things impact your decisions. The next thing I want to talk about that just occurred to me is I'm not sure what's going on with that situation downtown, with that building being destroyed. They are trying to use some sort of situation where perchance it's some sort of remodeling, but it looks to me like they're butchering it. The fourth item I'd like to talk about is the boil water notice that did not occur today. At 10 a.m. today, as a result of the Hunter Road project, whether because the lines are old and all the heavy equipment, we had 2 sets of water lines break, and then a second situation with another water line break. How do I know? Because whatever happens in this town, I tend to get text messages about it. My phone blows up. Residents were upset, and it wasn't until 1 p.m. until there was notification on Facebook. Still, as we have this meeting right now, no official boil water notice has been issued. I think that they need to use the text messaging system. They need to use phone robodials and old school leaflets, although I don't know if I like that idea. Finally, I think that we need to be more proactive with these projects. Behind me, you will see city workers who are not wearing masks, and they're working right in the middle of downtown. And I find this very problematic that the research that I have indicated, and I don't have time to share that with you, says that COVID can be spread out in plain sight. Do these city workers think they're better than the rest of the town? Moreover, you've got contractors on high rises who also are not wearing masks. I would implore y'all to send a resolution on the Historical Resources Survey. I'm out of time. Thank you for listening to me, and God bless San Marcos.
It's 6 o'clock.
Thank you, Ms. Papaletta.
Hey students, I want to give you the backstory of how I use my outline tonight. This is an example of a 1-minute keyword outline. So it's basically an extemporaneous speech that I prepared in 1 minute before a meeting. And a lot of this stuff happened in real time. The first part of the speech where I talk about the photos, and I had them in my background, had happened earlier this morning before my morning class. And I later, as a series of email correspondence to the city, sent them some of my research, and I inserted this into my outline. And I wanted to show them how there's evidence that talks about how people outside can spread the virus if they're not wearing masks. The reason why I wanted to present this research is because there were 3 measures in front of the City Council this week, which specifically talked about the COVID situation and kind of cracking down on small businesses that were not following the governor's order. My issue was that the city is not following the own rules that it's asking for small businesses to do. In other words, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So what I did was I quickly did some research, and I inserted this, and I wanted to read it, but I inserted an extemporaneous point, and you could see it wasn't on my outline. I tried to kind of point to you where I was. So I had my research that I was going to read with the source citations of the quotations. And I probably should have put a break here for my other quote where I talk about how going outside you can still get the virus. The other reason why I had these screenshots here were from a contract that the city put out. And the argument I wanted to make was in contracts for cities, they talk about smoking, they talk about OSHA, and they even want to have the bidding process in a building with COVID protocols. But the irony is when they actually roll out the demolition of the buildings or the CIP projects, which is called a capital improvement project, or a TxDOT site project, or a GAP project, the contractors are not wearing masks. So I just wanted to show the irony, and I didn't get to get this research either, of how you've got smoking in your contracts, OSHA safety in your contracts, your bidding process, you require people to wear masks, but hello, when you roll out the projects, you don't follow the governor's orders, which to me are equally as important as not smoking on the job, following OSHA requirements to protect safety, and then also even, and I call them the suits, is what I was going to say. Your suits at City Hall want masks, but your workers on the ground aren't wearing them. So I had two levels of analysis. So theoretically, in my keyword 1 minute outline, this argumentation, the first argument would be the city workers are not wearing masks. Hence, look at the photos. The BISA point would have been, you can get COVID outside. Here is some research. And the CISA point argument would be, even in your own contracts, you have safety protocols for breathing, whether it's smoking or OSHA requirements, or even when you're administering a bid, but you're not doing that when you create buildings or demolish buildings or have road projects. So that was my 1 minute outline argumentation there. I tried to kind of show my cursor to you what I was doing. But once again, I threw out that other argument about a building downtown that they're demolishing, that they didn't have a certificate of appropriateness for, which meant they needed approval through that very commission I was talking about. So my audience tonight was the Historic Preservation Commission. And the little argument that I didn't write out here is there's a building downtown that they're quote unquote remodeling, but they're basically kind of halfway demolishing it, and it should have gone through that commission. So to that effect, that extemporaneous argument that I didn't write here was targeting that commission. Now, as you can see, this is a keyword outline. These are not full sentences. I didn't even have time to create bullets, and usually when I make a speech, I'm a bullet girl. Okay, that's usually what, if I would have had time to clean this up, I would have made sure everything was, either I would have numbered it or I would have had bullets. All the rest of it was all extemporaneous, but I had to write my arguments down. This water boil notice was happening in real time. My only regret on the speech is that I did not make this argument, and that was my oversight because I should have highlighted it, because to me, that was the most important piece. I write articles for the news media. I send articles, tips to the news media, and I consider myself a blogger, so hello, I'm part of the news media. And to me, it was a grave oversight that the news media could have been one more outlet for the city to have advised residents that there was 3 breaks that occurred today, and people should have been boiling their water. And I should have had an example in there, like I did in my email correspondence, like what if some mom had given that water to her baby? How would you feel? But I was rushed. So anyway, I just want to make a point that this is a keyword outline. I call it my 1 minute keyword outline because whenever I give a speech, I have to write it out. Whether it's on a scrap piece of paper, it's neatly written on a nice piece of paper or a legal pad, or I do it in real time. The other reason why I did the screen capture video for you is to show you how I particularly set up my interface, because oftentimes when they move you from a panelist, and you'll notice that jar that occurred in the video clip, when they moved me, when they started the meeting, suddenly my Zoom interface got cattywampus in my notes, and I'm used to that happening. So I set up my screen in a very specific way because I know that's going to jar at all my windows, and I don't want to, look like I'm flustered. And you'll notice my composure before the meeting. I was doing my, focus, the little things that I do to stay focused, and just never let them see you sweat. So I just want to make a delineation. This is a keyword outline. It's not a full sentence outline like you will create. The next speech I do, I'll actually create a full sentence outline because my speeches for generally the city council are more, I spend more time on them, but like this happened today, and this was something that came to me today, and then them not wearing masks with the photos all cut today. So it was pretty much everything was all improv. Thank you for listening to my commentary. I hope this makes a clear delineation to you on how to set up your windows on a computer when you're doing Zoom, specifically if you're moved to a panelist. Moreover, how you can make a keyword outline in less than a minute, and how it's distinct from the requirements of this course where I talk specifically about how you need to craft yourself a full sentence outline. And you notice also I signpost. I said number 1, number 2, then I threw in that third argument, and then I even said 4. Theoretically, I should have numbered each one of these, but I've been doing this so long, and I probably should have had the source right here, so-and-so states, but all this research, I had literally sent them like an hour before the meeting. And so literally this was a 1 minute thing. I went through my email to find this research that I'd sent off to the city council. Literally 5 minutes before I logged on, I went through a contract that I knew the city was opening up for bids, and I researched their contract, and I wanted to throw it in their face that, look, you require all this stuff for breathing situations, but not when you sign a contract with the contractor. I mean, to me, in my mind, if the city opens up a contract with someone and makes them do all this stuff, in the contract should also be your contractors will wear masks and your contractors will wear social distance. And the only reason why I'm being so hardcore about it is because they wanted to be hardcore with small businesses. And quite frankly, I was kind of hard on the city council on this the other night, but I really agree with them that people should be wearing masks. Now, the research might point otherwise, but let's say, my argument is you're not a rebel. Okay, if you're such a rebel, then I would see people who don't wear face masks, then I would see you up at City Hall all the time talking about this or writing letters to the editor, but you're just walking in with no mask. And so, anyway, thanks for watching my commentary. Thanks for watching the speech proper. I hope this gave you a nice bright line delineation between a keyword outline, which is not what you're going to create, how you can create a speech in 1 minute in my workflow as a professional public speaker.